saying that the last subject I took, it was professional writing, and the teacher asked us to create a blog where we had to be like uploading every week different essay about different topics and all this stuff. So I really like that activity because um, he could go to our blog and check the essays. So it was kind of good because we were uploading the essays and other stuff. So it was good to apply our abilities in that activity and be creative and all the stuff. So
Mm,
in that case, I like it.
okay.
But there are some cases in which I think blogs are not good. So that's why I think that activities depend on the subject sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. Um, it depends of the subject, Gilbert, and as well as it depends of the kind of a student you have and the kind of teacher you have. Because when you think about a very creative activity, most of the time requires a lot of time, a lot of resources. And because of the situation, that we cannot ask students to do something, like really, really big right now. You know what I'm saying? Because if I mean, I really love, if you're asking me like directly, I would say that I love very creative activities. However, I have to think about the limitations that you have. I have to think about the classmates, your classmates, the one that do not have resources or access to the internet. I have to think about those students that have only a cell phone and they don't have a computer to create videos or to create something that is necessary to use a computer. So there are many limitations, I would say. And it's not 100% teachers' fault, and it's not 100% students' fault. Sadly, it's 100% government's fault. And let me tell you why. Because um, if we had if we had a government that had invested in education many years ago, right, we would have a higher educational system. You know, like Cuba, for example. You see Cuba, right? Cuba, you can hear whatever about them, but they have a really good education. You know, and it is what it is, right? Sadly, our politicians have become robbers and they have stole our money and they have been invested in education because it's not a business. You know what I mean? If you have people with studies, with high level studies, we wouldn't have those kind of politicians we have right now. You know what I'm saying? So uh, it's it's a very very difficult situation, and we would spend the whole night talking about that. However, let's think about activities. Okay, we have chats, right? Like the WhatsApp group we have. In your case, you could use chats, right? For people to practice reading, writing. I mean, even if you joke around, if you do it in English, that would be perfect, because you're practicing. Maybe in the chat, maybe you can share an idiom, and you can say, "Hey, okay, let's guess what this means," and everybody's reading and participating. The only thing is that most of the people here in the chats, they are bored. They are bored of using the chat. I don't know what happens, but most of them are not motivated to do it in that way, and they use the chats only for saying, okay, we don't have classes, or we have classes, or I have a question about the homework, things like that. But we could take more advantage of the chat. Okay. Now, we have many web pages for getting information. We have the email. We have programs in which we can work together, like Google Docs. Um, we have a lot of resources. The only limitation would be our brain, and sadly, uh, the resources that students have, and also teachers. Okay, so that is the problem, guys. That is the problem in our society right now. But I'm pretty sure that maybe we could change that, right? So we have Skype or any other conferencing tool like Zoom, Teams, Google Meet. Um, I invite you guys that if you haven't used one of these tools, I invite you to start uh, talking about it and to start using it, okay? Because this is what you're gonna need for the practices, okay? And whenever you have a question, you can just say, okay, you can just ask me, okay? We can use also podcasts, you know, we can use video channels. Well, we're using YouTube as well. We can use tutorials, you know, we can even use Netflix, etc. We have a lot of things. The only limitation is uh, our brain, as I said. And I mean, we can reinvent things, you know, and motivation has to do a lot with this. If you motivate your students, then they're gonna be able to do the task that you ask them to do. Okay, but don't forget to be empathetic, because there are many people that are through difficult situations. There are many people that lost important people in their life, you know, and we have to understand that. We have to understand that people is having difficult times. All right. So you're going to be teachers soon. So you have to think about those aspects. Um, you have to take into consideration learning styles when planning lessons. Okay. Now, the limitation in this modality would be kinesthetic learners, I'm sorry. However, as I mentioned it before, if you want to do it, you can do it. Like, for example, if right now I ask you, okay, guys, stand up, and you stand up, right? And then I said, okay, stretch. You stretch, you know, you are stretching yourself, okay? All right, guys. Now, touch your nose. You know, imagine that you're working with basic levels, right? You touch your nose. Obviously, with higher subjects, probably you could do it just for how can I say, just for relaxing, you know, just like to build community, you know, not with the purpose of a learning thing, but moving, refresh your brain, you know, moving around, refresh your brain, especially if we are in this modality. So you can ask any student of any level to stand up, you know, to stretch, and then you go back to the class, you know. So you can have a lot of visual resources as well. Like you can have images, you can share videos, maybe not a full movie, but maybe a part of a movie. And maybe you can ask questions, and you can use the breakout rooms for students to interact. You can use the PowerPoint, etc., as I'm doing it. So there are many activities, guys, for you to implement. So the only limitation is that, right? Is that your brain and students resources, okay? So make sure you know the resources, make sure you talk to them, and you're gonna have the opportunity of teaching, okay? So any question before finishing this uh, conference, guys? Any question or any comment?
I have a question.
All right.
The activity that is assigned in Canvas is, I saw something that says that in three, I think, three students. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
this one.
three students.
Yeah.
So how are we going to do to get to? For example, I have a classmate that wants to work with me, but I'm missing one. So
Yeah, well, forgetting the forgetting the group, you mean, well, that's why we have the
mhm.
WhatsApp, that's why we have the WhatsApp group. So you
All
have
right.
to
I hope
ask.
they get me in. So
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they will. They will.
All right.
So they will. If they don't add you, you let me know so I can find the administrator and then ask him or ask her directly.
All
Yeah.
right.
For this homework is basically planning an activity. Okay. It's planning an activity, one activity, and it's gonna last for about 7 to 10 minutes. And you three are going to explain, okay, for what topic is your activity, the level. You're going to also give the instructions of the activity, the resource that you are using, right? The skills that you will improve with that kind of resource, and the methodology, right? So you're going to explain the activity, okay? You're going to explain the activity. Imagine that you are using Zoom, for example. If I was you, I would use Zoom, and I would create a video conference between the two colleagues that I'm going to work with, right? And I would tell them, okay, we're going to have this activity in PowerPoint. So we're using PowerPoint, which is a technological resource. We're using Zoom, which is a technological resource as well. And what we're going to do is this. We're going to plan an activity for basic level, okay? The activity is going to be about pronunciation, okay? And you show some vocabulary with the phonetic symbols or something. I don't know. That comes to my mind. You are going to be more creative, and then you're going to decide what kind of activity you're going to develop. But something important is that you have to appear in the video, okay? At least for like showing up that it's you. Because many of you send videos, but you don't appear in the video. Like, I can assure that it's you. So you got to be in the video, okay? At least for the introduction or something, but you have to appear, okay? Because I understand that sometimes like you share the screen and then your face is not there. However, you can do it. But if you don't want to appear in the video the whole time, it's fine. But at least at the beginning, you have to appear, okay? Is there any other question? Is there any other question, guys? We're good.
No, sir.
Yes, I have a question.
All right.
If the topic we can choose a grammatical or general topic.
It's up to you. It's up to you. But honestly, I would recommend you to avoid grammar, because grammar tend to be a bit difficult sometimes for explaining in a dynamic way. You know what I mean? Especially if you don't have experience. But if you think you can do it, go on, okay? I'm just saying, but it's up to you. I mean, I really don't want to deal with that. I don't want to tell you, okay, you're gonna work with a TOEFL activity, and blah blah blah, right? So I don't want to push you that much. I want you to think what could be good, all right? What is in your hands, okay? So that's what I left it open, so you could choose. Any other question?
Does the level matter? I mean, we can we do it in basic level,
You can do it.
intermediate,
You can do
advanced?
it in any level you want. Basic, advanced, intermediate, pre-intermediate, whatever. Any other question?
But it is not a complete class, or,
No,
or
it's just one activity.
it's like the warm up or
It
what?
could be a warm up. It could be a wrap up. It could be the development. It's just one activity. It could be a reading activity, a listening activity, and a speaking activity. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
I have a question.
All right.
Are we going to just explain the activity or are we going to implement the activity?
Well, the idea is just to explain the activity, okay? It's just to explain the activity. Since you're not having students, you're just explaining the activity. But
All
if
right.
you want to do it with your colleagues, it's okay. I don't really mind. But what I want you to do is that to identify the aspects that I'm pointing out. Okay?
Mister,
Yes.
but you say that we have to make the video from 7 to 10 minutes, but
Yeah,
if we explain, we
it's gonna
we
take
have less
longer.
time. It takes less time than 7 minutes.
If you explain what, I'm sorry, I don't understand. If you explain just
Just
the
that, just
activity.
the activity. Yeah.
No, come on. How come it's going to be less than 7 minutes? I mean, there are many things about to say about an activity. It's not just saying, okay, this is the body part and it's for basic. Okay, stand up, look at me, don't do what I say, do what I do. I mean, like, it's not about that. I mean, you explain why you have selected the activity, okay? You explain the instructions, and in the instructions part you have to emphasize that instructions will depend of the level of your students. I'm going to check that, because if you're talking too much and your students are for basic, then they won't understand you. So you can explain, okay, I have written these instructions because my the level of my students is basic. So I'm gonna use familiar words for them to understand, okay? And then I'm using these technological sources because I think that this is important because of this and this and that. So there are many things about that, and you are three. So you're gonna have around 2 minutes and 30 seconds each, you know. So I think that it's enough, but it's up to you. I mean, I don't know. You give me feedback if you think that is not too much time. But at the end, I'm pretty sure that you're going to spend more than 10 minutes. Any other question? Is there any other question before leaving?
Mister, which method we can use?
I'm sorry.
Which method we can use?
Which method?
Yeah.
That's up to you. It's up to you. It depends of the topic, and it depends of the for whom is your activity directed.
Okay.
Yes. Any other question?
We're going to record use explaining the activity that we're going to develop, right? We
Exactly.
don't go to develop a class.
No, no,
Totally.
no. It's just one activity. It's not a class.
Okay.
It's just one activity, okay? It's just one activity. Remember that, just one activity. And you're gonna explain the activity based on the aspects that are listed here. The topic and level, the activity with the instruction, the technological resource that you're gonna use, etc., right? So all that. Now, as soon as you finish, you upload the video to YouTube or Drive Store. Please make sure that the link works, okay? And I'm going to say this in Spanish. Asegúrense que su link funcione porque después me toca escribirles y que el video es privado, que ya no está. Entonces a veces tengo bastante trabajo y pues es bien un poco molesto eso. Por favor, asegúrense de que su link funcione perfectamente, que se pueda visualizar, ¿verdad? Así es que por favor asegúrense de eso antes de compartirlo en Canvas. No vayan a cargar el archivo directamente porque la razón por la que les pido el link es para no llenar a Canvas porque tenemos bastantes alumnos ahí y no queremos ocupar espacio en Canvas. Y con el link es más fácil hasta para cargarlo también, ¿verdad? Si ustedes cargan un archivo, tengo que descargarlo a mi computadora y se tarda alrededor de media hora porque a veces el internet no está tan bueno. Entonces, en esa parte, compañeros, les pido de favor que hagan el arreglo necesario, ¿verdad? Ya si por casualidades de la vida o cualquier otra cosa tienen algún otro problema, me lo hacen saber personalmente en el chat o por mensajes. Okay? Is there any other question before leaving? Or comment or something? Or feedback? Complain?
Is it necessary to appear on the
Yes,
video
it's
record?
necessary.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Is there any other question? No? Okay. in 2 weeks, we're having our first midterm. So I highly recommend you to start checking out the material that we have. Okay.
I have a last question.
Okay.
Till when do we have to give you the papers you send us about the? We have to go to a teacher and look
We
for
have
a teacher to do the practices. and all
we
that
have
stuff?
we have about 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks. All right.
Yeah, we have this coming week and we have the other one, which is the one for the midterm.
All right. So
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
All right. So is there any other question? Somebody? All right. So it has been a pleasure, guys. I'll see you next week. Okay. Be safe. Many blessings. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.